Hello, good morning dear students. Today is our second class. The last class we have discussed about Stone Age. What is mean by Stone Age? Tell me what is mean by Stone Age? Do you remember? Peoples in the prehistoric period used tools or weapons made of rough stones. That is, the implement used by these prehistoric peoples were stone. Therefore, this period is known as Stone Age. We have already studied Stone Age. Stone Age mainly classified into two types. What are they? Tell me. Stone Age mainly classified into two types. What are they? Do you remember? Stone Age mainly classified into two types. First, Paleolithic Age. Paleolithic Age, also known as Old Stone Age. Paleolithic Age, also known as Old Stone Age. Second one, Neolithic Age. Neolithic Age, also known as New Stone Age. The last class we have discussed the lifestyle of Paleolithic people. Already we have discussed Paleolithic people's lifestyle. Today we will discuss Second Stone Age. That is, today we will discuss Second Stone Age. That is Neolithic Age. Okay? Okay? Yes. Neolithic Age. The change from Paleolithic Age to Neolithic Age was a gradual process, not a sudden process. It was a gradual human development. The change from Paleolithic Age to Neolithic Age was a gradual process. In this Neolithic period was a turning point in human civilization. Because in this Neolithic age, huge development, huge transformation occurred in human life. In this Neolithic period, huge transformation occurred in human life in every field. Neolithic man used polished and sharper weapon tools. What are the major developments occurred during Neolithic period? We can discuss. What are the major development occurred during Neolithic period? First one, discovery of agriculture. In the Neolithic period, peoples engaged in farming. Discovery of agriculture was a great achievement in Neolithic man. Second one, domestication of animals. Neolithic man tamed dogs, cow, horse, goat. The second development of Neolithic period is domestication of animals. Third, so the important development during Neolithic age was discovery of agriculture. That is, Neolithic people engaged in farming. Second one, domestication of animals. Mainly Neolithic man tamed dogs, cow, sheep, etc. Third one, Neolithic man discovered wheel. Discovery of wheel. Discovery of the wheel is a great achievement in Neolithic man. Discovery of the wheel was a great achievement in Neolithic man. Then fourth one, Neolithic people used polished and sharper stones and weapons. Polished and sharper stones and weapons. Earlier class we discussed Paleolithic people used weapons have no shape and no sharpened edge, but in Neolithic people, Neolithic man used polished and sharper stones and weapons. Okay, then fifth one, Neolithic man wear dresses. Neolithic man wear dresses. Paleolithic we have already studied. Paleolithic people have no clothes to wear. They wore only animal skin, bark of trees and leaves. But in the case of Neolithic man wear dresses because they cultivated, Neolithic people cultivated cottons, jutes and make clothes. So Neolithic people wear dresses. Sixth one, developed shelters. Neolithic people developed shelters. Neolithic people developed shelters. So we have discussed the important development during Neolithic period. First one, discovery of agriculture. Neolithic people discovered agriculture. Second one, domestication of animals. Third one, discovery of wheel. Neolithic people used polished and sharper stones and weapons. Then Neolithic people wear dresses. Sixth one, developed shelters. Neolithic people developed shelters. Then seventh one, made pots. Neolithic peoples made different types of pots. Okay. Then eighth one, beginning of settled life. Beginning of settled life. Beginning of settled life. Neolithic people discovered agriculture and they were always busy for domestication of animal. Therefore, Neolithic man led to a settled and social life. Settled and social life. So the discovery of agriculture and domestication of animals led to Neolithic man beginning a settled and social life. So look at this. The important developments during Neolithic age was discovery of agriculture, that is people engaged in farming, domestication of animals, mainly Neolithic man tamed as dogs, cows, horse, etc. Then discovery of wheel, it is a great achievement. It is a great achievement for Neolithic people. Then used polished and sharper stones and weapons. Neolithic man used polished and sharper stones and weapons. Neolithic man wear dresses. Developed shelters. Neolithic man developed shelters. Then made different pots. The Neolithic man beginning of settled life because of discovery of agriculture and domestication of animals led to Neolithic people a social and a settled life. Okay. Now we can discuss the various aspects of life of man during Paleolithic age and Neolithic age. We can compare Paleolithic age and the Neolithic age. Okay. Comparison of Paleolithic age and Neolithic age. So very important question. Comparison of Paleolithic age and Neolithic age. Okay, it's a very important questions. Look at this. We can compare the various aspects of man, life of man in Paleolithic age and Neolithic age. Paleolithic age. Crude weapons mainly used. Weapons had no shape and no sharpened edge. We can already study. Crude weapons mainly used. Paleolithic people used crude weapons. Weapons had no shape and no sharpened edge. But in Neolithic man, use of sharp and polished weapon stone. Neolithic people used sharp and polished weapon stone. Second ones. Paleolithic man hunted birds and animals. Paleolithic man hunted birds and animals. Paleolithic man was ignorant for agriculture. Paleolithic man was ignorant for agriculture. But in Neolithic people, agriculture was discovered. Agriculture was in practice. Mainly Neolithic man practiced for wheat, barley, fruits, vegetables, etc. are cultivated. Mainly Neolithic peoples cultivated wheat, barley, fruits and vegetables. Okay. Third one. Paleolithic people lived in caves, small caves. We have already studied Paleolithic man lived in caves. But Neolithic people lived in huts. Mud houses were also in use. Mud houses were also in use. Because Neolithic people developed led to a settled and social life. So Neolithic man lived in huts and mud houses were also developed. Paleolithic man have no clothes to wear. They wore only animal skin, bark of trees and leaves. But in Neolithic man cultivated jute and cotton and to produce cloth. Neolithic man wear clothes. Very important point. Fourth one, Paleolithic man have no clothes to wear. They wore animal skin, bark of trees and leaves. But in Neolithic man cultivated jute and cotton and to produce cloth. Neolithic man wear cloth. Then fifth one, Paleolithic man knew the use of fire. Paleolithic man knew the use of fire. Neolithic man used fire for cooking food and meat. Neolithic man used fire for cooking food and meat. Paleolithic man knew the use of fire, but in the case of Neolithic man used fire for cooking food and meat. Sixth one, Paleolithic man led a nomadic life. Paleolithic man led a nomadic life. What is meant by nomadic? Paleolithic people not constantly lived in one places. We have already studied. Paleolithic man not constantly lived in one places. They were always moved from one place to another places. They were always shifted from one place to another places. So Paleolithic man led a nomadic life. But in the case of Neolithic man began to lead a settled and social life because in Neolithic period agriculture and domestication of animal was in practice. So Neolithic man began to lead a settled and a social life. It's a very important point. Compare the various aspects of life of man in Paleolithic age and Neolithic age. Do you understand? Okay, once more I tell. Paleolithic people used crude weapons mainly used. Weapons had no shape and no sharpened edge. But in Neolithic age, use of sharp and polished weapon stones. Paleolithic people hunted birds and animals. Man was ignorant for agriculture. But in Neolithic man, agriculture was in practice. Wheat, barley, fruits, vegetables, etc. are cultivated. Paleolithic man lived in small caves, but in Neolithic man lived in huts. Mud houses were also used. Paleolithic man, they have no clothes to wear. They wore animal skin, bark of trees and leaves. But in the case of Neolithic man cultivated jute and cotton and to produce cloth. Paleolithic man knew the use of fire. But in the case of Neolithic man used fire for cooking food and meat. Then last one, Paleolithic man led a nomadic life because they always moved. They not constantly lived from one place. They were always moved from one place to another places. So Paleolithic man led a nomadic life. Neolithic man began to lead a settled and a social life. Neolithic man began to lead a settled and a social life. It's a very important point. Okay, understood? Okay, yes. That is the comparison of different aspects of life of man during Paleolithic age and a Neolithic age. It's very important. So we can study Paleolithic age, then Neolithic age, the next Neolithic age, then followed by another ancient life period, that is Metal Age. Neolithic age then followed by the another life of ancient man, that is Metal Age. Now we will discuss Metal Age. Neolithic age was then followed by Metal Age. The transition from Neolithic age to Metal Age was an important milestone in the human life period. Transition from Neolithic age to Metal Age was an important milestone in the human life period. Okay, copper was the first metal invented. It's a very important point. Copper was the first metal invented. Copper was the first metal invented. Metal Age, Neolithic age followed by Metal Age. Metal Age was an important milestone in the life of human period. Copper was the first metal invented. Copper was the first metal invented. Copper was the first metal invented. The period when both the stone and copper implement, the period when both the stone and copper implement, the period when the stone and copper implement were used is known as Chalcolithic age. The period when the stone and copper implement used is known as Chalcolithic age. It's a very important point. Chalcolithic age also known as Copper Stone Age. Chalcolithic also known as Copper Stone Age. So, copper was the first metal invented. The period when both stone and copper, implements were used is known as Chalcolithic age or Chalcolithic period, also known as Copper Stone Age. Also known as Copper Stone Age. Note the point. The period when the stone and copper implements used is known as Chalcolithic age or Copper Stone Age. Later man melting this copper and lead. Later man melting this copper and lead together. Later man melting this copper and lead together to make bronze. Later man melting this copper and lead together to make bronze. Bronze was harder than copper. So this period is known as Bronze Age. Bronze was harder than copper. So this period is known as Bronze Age. Huge transformation occur in the human life. Bronze Age, huge transformation occur in the human life. What are the major development? What are the major development or occupational field developed during Bronze Age? What are the major development or occupational field developed during Bronze Age? Look at this. Agriculture, then domestication of animals, making ornaments, fourth one, making bricks, fifth one, weavings. The major development or occupational field developed during Bronze Age was agriculture, domestication of animals, making ornaments, making braids, weavings, making bronze pot, sixth one, making bronze pots. The next one, trade and transport system. Developed during Bronze Age. Also, clear administrative system developed during Bronze Age. Next one, transmission centers developed during Bronze Age period. So huge transmission occur human life in Bronze Age period. What are the occupational field or development during Bronze Age period? Agriculture, tamed animals. Look at this, agriculture, tamed animals, making ornaments, making bricks, weavings, making bronze pot, trade and transport system developed, administrative system formed, then transmission center formed. Okay, understood? So, Neolithic age was followed by another life of period of man, ancient man, that is Metal Age. The transition from Neolithic to Metal Age was an important milestone in the history of mankind. Copper was the first metal invented. The period when both the stone and copper implements were used is known as Chalcolithic period or Copper Stone Age. Then later man melting this copper and lead together. To make bronze. Bronze was harder than copper. So this period is known as Bronze Age. Huge transformation in the Bronze Age period. Huge transformation occurred in human life. Mainly various development or occupational field during Bronze Age was agriculture, tamed animals, making ornaments, making bricks, weavings, making bronze pot, trade and transport system developed, clear administrative system formed during Bronze Age, also transmission center formed. Okay, understood? Now, next, during Bronze Age period, Bronze Age peoples used stones and weapons called Bronze Age. It's a very important point. During Bronze Age period, people used tools and weapons known as Bronze Age. It's a very important point. Next, the invention of art of writing. The invention of art of writing was another striking features of Bronze Age man. Invention of the art of writing. The invention of the art of writing, various art of writing was another striking features of the Bronze Age man. Invention of the art of writing. The invention of the various art of writing was another striking features of the Bronze Age man. With these features, various river valley civilization, with these features, various river valley civilization flourished in the Bronze Age period. With these features, what features? What features? With these features, what features? The invention of art of writing. Art of writing was another striking features during Bronze Age period. Invention of art of writing was another striking features during Bronze Age period. With these features, various river valley civilization developed during Bronze Age period. With these features, various river valley civilization flourished in the Bronze Age period. The major river valley civilization during Bronze Age period we can discuss our next class. Okay, today now we can draw the ancient human life flow chart. Okay, first we can draw Paleolithic age. Next, tell me, next, Neolithic age. Second one, Neolithic age. Third one, tell me, third one, Metallurgical first, Chalcolithic age, Chalcolithic age. Chalcolithic age. Chalcolithic age also known as Copper Stone age. Copper Stone age. The last, Bronze age. This is the flow chart of ancient human life. First we can discuss Paleolithic age, then second Stone age, Neolithic age. Neolithic age then followed by Metal age, first Metal age, Chalcolithic age or Copper Stone age, then Bronze age. Huge development, huge transmission of human life developed during Bronze age. Different type of changes developed during Bronze age in human life. Okay. Look at this: Paleolithic age, Neolithic age, Chalcolithic age, then Bronze age. Okay. Now shall we discuss some questions? Shall we discuss some questions about today's topics? Okay? Yes. Question number 1. Compare various aspects of life of man during Paleolithic age and Neolithic age. Compare various aspects of life of man during Paleolithic age and Neolithic age. Question number 1. Compare various aspects of life of man during Paleolithic age and Neolithic age. Question number 2. List out the various occupational field. List out the various occupational field developed List out the various occupational field developed in the Bronze Age. List out the various occupational field developed in the Bronze Age. Then question number 3. Discuss the important developments during Neolithic Age. Question number 1. Compare various aspects of life of man during Paleolithic Age and Neolithic Age. Question number 2. List out the various occupational field developed in the Bronze Age. Question number 3. Discuss the important developments during Neolithic Age. Okay. Question number 4. Next question number 4. What is mean by Chalcolithic Age? 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 Then next question, that is question number 5. Dash is the main occupational field of Neolithic people. Dash is the main occupational field of Neolithic people. Question number 4. What is mean by Chalcolithic Age? Question number 5. Dash is the main occupational field of Neolithic people. Then question number 6. What was added copper to make bronze? What was added copper to make bronze? Question number 4. What is mean by Chalcolithic Age? Question number 5. Dash is the main occupational field of Neolithic people. Then last question number 6. What was added copper to make bronze? Okay. So the invention of art of writing was major striking features of Bronze Age. With these features, various river valley civilization developed during Bronze Age period. With this major river valley civilization during this Bronze Age was discussed our next class. Okay, thank you.